Hello, my lovable friends. I hope you are doing great. In today's class, we're going to continue talking about the topic of education, but with different subcategories. So, without further ado, let's get started. Technology in education opinion. So, what are different kinds of opinions about it? Institutions should supplement traditional teaching with the use of technology. So, instead of saying replace, you can use supplement as the verb. Supplement or replace something with something else. Here, traditional teaching with the use of technology. So, you might have noticed that I said use because when we use as the noun, like here, the pronunciation is like s, but in general, as a verb, it is use. So how can I say, how can I understand it is a noun based on the phrase that has been used here? And of course, the other sign is the use of preposition of. So with the use of. Technology is part of everyday life. So you can just put an adjective here as well, like is a key part, is an important, vital, essential, profound. Okay. So here you can change a technology with any other thing that you want to, like money, investment, financial resources, like that. It can enhance a teacher's lessons. What? Technology in education. So remember, previously I told you that referencing is one of the factors that you need to show the examiner you know how to do it in order to be able to get a beautiful 7 and higher score for your written task. Students can use online resources to help with homework. To help with homework. And let's move to the next round of statements here. Students might still learn to write by hand. So it is saying that previously we said that students might forget how to write by hand, but here it is showing the counter argument, saying that, okay, not necessarily it can be true. So maybe many students know how to write beautifully by hand. They should still use traditional sources of information such as books. So here we've got another important piece of information saying that not everything is supposed to be replaced, but some sorts of traditional resources like books should be still available and utilized. Education in developing countries. What are the problems? So developing countries, so those countries are not developed, right? They are developing. Children often have to work from an early age. So we say from an early age or at an early age. So you cannot say that when they are very kids. In some languages, the direct translation from their target, from their mother tongue into their target language is like this. But in English, you need to say from or at an early age, showing and putting emphasis on the fact that they are very young when they start doing that. There are no schools in many areas. Yes, unfortunately. Families do not have access to books or computers. So even though they want to participate in those kind of academic classes and courses, they don't have the financial aids to provide those kind of devices and necessities for children nowadays. Literacy rates are often low in those places, um, developing countries like some African countries. People in developing countries need knowledge and skills. Definitely, everywhere this is needed, but maybe in those places, this actually has a very, very competitive importance as well because their future really depends on that. Education is the key to improving the economy of these countries. There is a very important point here, which is to be the key to improving. So if you're using the phrase to be the key to or to be an important part of doing something like that, you need to use a verb plus ing, improving. That is a little bit strange because we normally do not use ing after to, but you need to know that to has two functions. So here is not the same as that to that you try to separate the verbs from one another. So here you say to improving, to doing, to going. So let's move on and talk about the solutions. So we talked about the problems, and now we want to talk about the solutions that we can propose. Developed countries could help developing nations by providing money. Developed countries like the USA, most European countries, probably those countries who are those countries which are wealthy and they can help other countries which are in need. Developed countries could help developing nations by providing money. So here, as you can see, we said countries and nations in order to avoid repeating the word country. They could invest in schools and technology. Invest in, remember the preposition that is accompanied is in. They could supply the funds to build schools and pay for teachers. Children need to have access to free schooling. To have access to something like free schooling. Computer equipment could be donated. Could be donated. It's like charity, right? So when they receive it, complimentary without paying for that. Equipment. Equipment is a very nice word that is used in many different skills, but remember, it is not plural. It cannot be used as a plural noun, unlike many other languages. So we say equipment is. We cannot say equipments are. Not at all. This is wrong. And the next sentence is the internet can expose students to a world of knowledge and information. So, definitely, as we now can be in touch regardless of our geographical location. So, the internet, and remember to add there before internet. So, the internet can expose students to a world of knowledge. So, it means that they can. Um, bring the knowledge and information for students in front of the students, not physically, right? So expose students to a world of knowledge and information. Governments, remember to have that N in the word government because while we use it in the spoken language, we don't pronounce or hear it that much emphatic. So that's why sometimes I see that in written language learners forget to write it down. So governments should make education compulsory for all children. So it's a must. They have to do that. It's not optional. So it means that everybody having a child needs to send them to the school. It's not a choice for families to make a decision. They should encourage parents to send their children to school, as I was telling you. Governments of developed and developing countries must work together. Yeah, so maybe some people will say that why? It's not our country, those who are located in the developed countries. But honestly speaking, it's very, very interconnected. So you might not understand it at the first glance, but when you think about it a little bit on the deeper levels and layers, you'll understand how and why, because we're all related. You know, if somebody is suffering in a poor country, it has some effects in a rich and well-developed country as well. It's not that much direct and probably tangible, but it happens a lot. That's why the developed countries try to help those countries which are in need. I like to personify the country. So let's move to the next topic, higher education. Wow, that is a nice topic. Higher education advantages or benefits of education. There are many benefits to going to university, so it's undeniable, definitely. A degree can open the door to better employment prospects. If you watch the first episode of education, you might remember this phrase to open the door to da, da, da. So here we have employment prospects. It means that better job opportunities are ahead of you. Economies are becoming increasingly knowledge based. Economies are becoming increasingly. So here we have present continuous or progressive. Are becoming. They are becoming increasingly. So it is on increase. And knowledge based. The beautiful hyphen. Most jobs require specific knowledge and skills. So definitely they need to have the knowledge, they need to have the specific skills, and then we have skilled workers are needed for sectors such as information technology and engineering. So, as you might have heard, these occupations are very much in need. So, if you have studied IT or if you're a kind of computer engineer or other kinds of engineer, generally, you are definitely wanted in many countries because there is a huge let's say, a gap in that kind of sector. And repetitive manual jobs are now done by machines. So those jobs, those activities, those tasks that need a lot of physical activity and energy, like repetitive manual jobs, like for example, pushing the button or doing something that is mostly like programming, can be done by machines. Many factories have moved to developing countries. So you might have seen that, for example, you bought something that the brand is like American or European, but the product was produced and manufactured in mostly Asian countries or India because the labor is very cheap there. And nowadays, most very nice and very famous um, companies try to have their products produced and manufactured in those countries. The salary and pay they need to just consider for their workers is relatively lower. Let's talk about the disadvantages that could be related to that. So, at the first glance, you might be shocked that, oh, higher education, there wouldn't be any kind of disadvantage. It's filled with positive thoughts, positives, attitudes, and stuff like that. But believe me, everything in this world can have the disadvantages as well. A healthy economy needs a wide range of workers. So a healthy economy needs a wide range of workers. So if everybody is like a doctor or an engineer or somebody who has the best, uh, let's say, education, we wouldn't have those kind of workers and those people who are eager to do the physical activities. Some manual workers will always be needed even though the machine and nowadays AI and robots improve. A university degree is not necessary for many service professions. Not everybody needs to be educated because a lot of jobs really do not need those kind of trainings. Instead, probably some very short trainings will do. And practical training is more important in some industries. So, practical training, vocational training is more important in some industries. So, here, as you can see, the word is written with U, industries, but the way that we pronounce it is mostly like E. So, it's not industry, it's industry. In the UK, for the USA, we always use the. For some countries, we do that because we believe that they have more than one part. And many islands, for example, like the Philippines, but it's not true for all countries. The number of the countries which should be followed by the is like handful. For example, what a beautiful structure for example, has been used here in the UK, for example, There's currently a shortage of plumbers, so we write plumbers, but B is not pronounced. Their service are therefore becoming more and more expensive. It is true. So even in Canada, Australia, I can say definitely it is one of the things that might surprise you because you might not expect that, for example, those people like plumbers or carpenters really earn a huge amount of money because their profession is considered to be definitely lucrative. So they can have a very high, well-paid salary that you wouldn't think at the first glance, but later on you understand how and why. So, thank you for being with me today as well. As you can see, the topic is not finished yet, so I will definitely prepare another episode about homeschooling and the things which are related to education as well. And I would like to invite you to subscribe to this channel, and hopefully you will like the video, and that definitely gives me a lot of motivation and energy to continue making videos for you. Thank you so much and have a great day.